Hey, Remote Pilot 101, Jason here. Welcome to the live stream. Welcome to everyone watching this on YouTube and Facebook. So excited to be here in studio at Remote Pilot 101 headquarters here in Ocala. Ocala, Florida is where we are based at, and just blessed and excited to be bringing you an update on really the state of Part 107. Of course, I'm going to quiz you on a few little questions. We're going to talk a lot about remote ID, beyond visual line of sight, a lot of things that I believe are coming up and things that are happening. And of course, we'll talk about our current state of the economy a little bit too, and what this has done to our industry and where our industry is going. You know me, I'm the eternal optimist. I don't bring any gloom and doom. I take the good positive facts and bring them out to you. So despite all the COVID-19 news, let this be something that lights up your spirit and your timelines most definitely. I've been scrolling through Facebook and it gets depressing after a while. So this will be fun. I'll quiz you on some questions. We'll learn a lot. I won't take but a half hour of your time, and we're going to dive into it. Let's give some shout outs. Let's say hi first. So let's head over to YouTube, see what everyone's up to on YouTube, then Facebook. I'm coming to you next, so type in your shout outs then. Let's see. Hey, Stefan, Tom, Rick, Halburn over on YouTube. Great to see you. Ben, Carlos said he liked the intro, John, so good job on the intro for that. Thank you. Just John and I here in the studio making all that magic happen. There's John over there. See him? Hey, John in Arizona, great to see you. Michael, and then Off the Dome Media Group in Chicago, one of my favorite places. Great to see you as well, my friend. Username Phantom Flight 101. Afternoon to you. Joe watching from Philly, Ed in Atlanta, Joseph, Fort Lauderdale, not too far from us, Mo out in Austin, Carlos, you're in Tallahassee. Been out in Tallahassee quite a bit as well. GT, great to see you. Eric, also in Tallahassee. Hey, Ben from Jacksonville. Ben, I lived in Jacksonville, flew out of Craig Airfield there, St. John's Bluff Road, Atlantic Boulevard, right where I lived for quite a bit up there. Mark Hamilton, great to see you. Chester, great to see you. Hey, Droner, great to see you in Syracuse. Fantastic. Pete, howdy over on Facebook. Hey, to Carla. Great to see you. Nathan, Magdalena, top fan, great to see you. Steve, Alex, Mike, Scott, Lawrence in Pennsylvania over on Facebook. Great to see you all as well. Richard in Nashville. Dave, I can't even pronounce where you're from in Washington, but you're probably laughing now because there's no way I'm the only one. Snoqualmie, Washington. That's my best effort at that one. I don't make it to Washington much. Best of luck. I'm sure you've got, I know Washington State has been really impacted very intensely by COVID-19. Anyways, let's dive into the content. I know we're busy today. Many of us are working from home, working remotely, whatever that may be. I want to continue to honor your time. Like I said earlier, we're going to teach a little bit. Of course, we're the quiz guys, right? I'm gonna quiz you on some questions, help you out with that, help you pass a recurrent test, pass an initial course. But of course, we're here to make you safer, smarter pilots. Hey, real quick, type in me in the chat if you used Remote Pilot 101 or Remote Pilot 101 helped you in some way, one way or another. Ben, I see you right next to Craig. That's awesome. I'm telling you, I was right there, Atlantic Boulevard, St. John's Bluff Road. I was right there for a bit. So let's see, Dave, great to see you. Victor, great to see you. Hey, while we're doing that, again, let me know if you've used Remote Pilot 101 before. I know you are stuck at home and Netflix is blowing up, YouTube is blowing up, everything else. If you're looking for some great uplifting educational content, do subscribe to us here on YouTube, like us on Facebook, wherever you're watching this. And this is also our name tag for Instagram. Look at all those me's, by the way. Thank you. You guys are such a blessing to us. This is our Instagram tag as well. You can literally go to Instagram and scan it. I'm always doing behind the scenes as to what we're doing here in Remote Pilot 101 headquarters as well. We share the fun office pranks. We share everything on our story on Instagram. After this, I'll update that story to give you guys all a shout out. So go find us over on Instagram, subscribe on YouTube, Facebook. We're producing content every single week for you all to keep you smart, to keep you always learning. You know, how we got started. By the way, thank you for everyone who typed in me. It's like they don't stop. You guys, you are the reason Remote Pilot 101 is the most successful course in the market. You guys are just absolutely phenomenal. I love seeing you all at meetups. And unfortunately, with the coronavirus, we haven't been able to do as many meetups and seminars as usual. So this is a great way to reach out to you all. You know, we really got our start in manned aviation. I don't know if everybody knows that, but we actually got our start in manned aviation. So I am a 10,000-hour manned aviation pilot, airline transport pilot, flight instructor, and this is back in like the 333 days. We were using drones to capture footage like this that you see, and we're using it because if you want to be a private pilot, you want to be an airline pilot, we do all the test prep for that as well. So we're utilizing drones, especially like in this environment, to show the key landings and these different facets of manned aviation, and we were using drones. And then about that time, a little thing called Part 107 came around. We said, man, this is like private pilot light version. Ooh, let's do this. And we dove into it, made the course that you all know and love today. We are now on our third iteration of this, by the way, our third version of the Remote Pilot course. Building out the brand new Remote Pilot 101 website here soon. The things that we have in store for you guys are going to blow you away. Just to allude a little bit, in upcoming versions, we're working on things like offline viewing, some amazing flashcard study methods, and some additional courses, by the way. Courses on things like LiDAR and using more thermography and advanced photography, these sort of things intrigue you any, because those are the things we're going to be working on here in the near future. So again, thank you so much. We already work with so many of you. As you see, Victor says passed the first time. Look at all the me's from Rick, Kevin, Gary, James passed his Part 107 last week. You all are absolutely incredible. It is an honor to serve such a passionate community. You know, we also work with some of the biggest names in the industry too. When NYPD came to us, first it was FDNY, the real NCIS. Like NCIS isn't just a TV show, right? We're talking the real NCIS, just some very cool stuff. And I learn more and more about what you all are doing each and every day, from inspections to law enforcement, agriculture, surveying, insurance, medical, search and rescue, photography. The list goes on and on. I am blown away at the emails and the comments you all leave as to what you all are doing. So, you know, when we were preparing and building this third version of Remote Pilot 101, I asked myself the question of what is the best way to prepare students for their Part 107 certification. And so many people want to teach rote memorization, and if you've all been through the course, you know that is the opposite of what we teach. What we teach is real-world applicability and scenario-based training. So before I share with you the state of Part 107 and some of the exciting things that are coming, I have to quiz you. It's only fair to quiz everybody, right? So let's go through this. Let's see how we do. Again, these are questions. This first one is from the initial test. The next, I believe I have two, are from just the recurrent test. So let's dive in these here together, and let's see how much you all remember a thing called TAFs. Refer to figure 15. I'll show you figure 15 here in just a second. How does the weather change from 2200 Zulu to 0200 Zulu? Remember, we use Zulu, universal time coordinated, a Greenwich Mean Time essentially. Will it be A, lightning will start, B, the ceiling drops from 1500 to 800, or C, the skies become clear? Again, let me show you that figure. I know I can't fit it all at the screen at the same time, so the question was, how does the weather change between, I just underlined 2200 Zulu and 0200 Zulu? Was it A, lightning will start, B, the ceiling drops from 1500 to 800, or is it C, the skies become clear? I'll let you all read that TAF here for just a second before I go through and read it with you. I'm going to give a few shout outs. Hopefully I'm not too distracting while you're trying to read that. Kevin, great to see you. Gary, great to see you over on Facebook. Brad from South Bend Police Department, thank you, my friend. What a blessing. Bill Emmons, typing in some correct answers on Facebook. Lawrence, correct answers. You guys are like TAF ninjas. J&M Outdoors on YouTube. John in Arizona. My buddy Ben from Jacksonville, Leonard, John, Dave, Brian, Theodore, correct answers. Magdalena, correct answers. Scott, Sandy, Randall, David on Facebook. Look at all these correct answers. It's like we remember how to read TAFs. I'll give you just one more second for those catching up. And now I'm going to tell you why. Okay, let's go to the why. Let's see if I can find my cursor. There's my cursor. Okay, I got it. So our options are lightning will start, the ceiling drops from 1500 to 800, or skies become clear. Let's read a TAF here together. Follow my cursor. It's right here on the left side of your screen. From 2200, the winds are from the direction, the first three numbers of the direction, from 330 at 15 knots. So from 330, they're coming from generally the north, slightly northwest. Can you picture that with me? 360 degrees of a compass, 270 is west, 360 or 0 is north, 330 is somewhere in between there. Winds from the northwest at 15 knots, gusting, the G is gusting, up to 20. P6SM, the P means greater than 6 statute miles of visibility. BKN means broken. Broken clouds at 1500. OVC, overcast clouds, 2500. Remember, in our answer B, it talks about a ceiling. What is the definition of a ceiling? The definition of a ceiling is the lowest broken or overcast layer. So if I look back at our TAF, I've got BKN, broken, 1500. Well, we're on to something there, right? Continuing to read, overcast 2500, prob 40, meaning there's a 40% probability that between 2200 Zulu and 0200 Zulu, these will be the conditions. 3 statute miles, showers, SH, rain, RA. From 0200, the winds 350, almost due north, at 12 knots. OVC, overcast 800. What did we just say earlier? The definition of a ceiling is the lowest broken or overcast layer. We just learned that the ceiling is going to go from broken at 1500 to overcast at 800. B is our correct answer. Congratulations on that. Let me just finish reading this TAF here just for fun so we can see it. Overcast 800, prob 40. There's a 40% probability that between 0200, 0500, 2 SM, 2 statute miles, minus means light, RA, so light rain, SN is snow, light rain and snow. B coming between these times of 0600 Zulu, 0800 Zulu, wind 020 at 8 knots, broken clouds 1200. Awesome. Now you might say, Jason, but the ceiling changes. It becomes broken at 1200. Yes, it does between 0600 and 0800. If we go back to our question, it's how does the weather change from 2200Z to 0200Z? And that's the difference between the two here. Okay, we're not going to deal with weather on the recurrent test. That's more of an initial test question. Congratulations to everybody who got that right. Super. And I'm sorry I'm going fast. I want to honor your time. Everyone here, it seems, as a customer anyways, you have access to these full videos where I go a little bit slower. Imagine me with some coffee, right? You think I talk fast now? All right, let's move forward in my slides here. Let's do some more questions that I promise I'll share some great updates as to what's coming. I love, Neil said, can I phone a friend? I love that, Neil. It doesn't work on the written test, but it's a great idea. All right, slow down. Read this one with me. An ATC radar facility issues the following advisory to a manned aircraft pilot flying north in a calm wind. Unmanned aircraft operations at 9 o'clock, 2 miles. Where should the remote PIC and crew, if applicable, look for this traffic? All right, read it. This is one of those you got to read 2 or 3 times. We're going to draw a picture here together. That's how we're going to work on that. Let's see. Giving you all a second. Hey, Eric Deagle, great to see you, my friend. I only expect perfect, correct answers from you, my friend. All right. Let's see. We got some answers coming in here. We've got some answers coming in. Interesting. Rob, Scott, Keith, Neil. Looking good. Let's see. Let's work on this one here together. This one's going to need a little bit of work. Okay, I'm a visual learner. Let me draw this for you. Let me read it one more time, then let me draw it for you. An ATC radar facility issues the following advisory to a manned aircraft pilot flying north in a calm wind. All right? First off, let's just draw where north is. Is that fair? Let's just say north is up. I'm drawing in the bottom right-hand corner. So this airplane is heading north in a calm wind. Got it. And the reason they say in a calm wind, let me get my model of 2-3 Mike Zulu. The reason they say north in a calm wind is because if this aircraft, if there was a lot of wind, if you're due north, I can be flying due north at you, but because of the wind, I could be crabbing into the wind. My nose is pointing this direction, but I'm still traveling north. That becomes important here because of their next line that they say. What do they say? They say, unmanned aircraft operations at 9 o'clock, 2 miles. So they're talking to the manned pilot. ATC issues these in reference to the aircraft's ground track. Do you see why that's important now? If we can go back to the model, they issue it in reference to my ground track. So if I'm heading north, ATC just sees a radar blip of my plane. They don't know that my nose is pointing this way. They just see a ground track. So if they say, oh, it's at 9 o'clock, I could be looking out this way, but really I need to be looking that way. Do you follow me with that? All right, so we put our clock around. I'm getting a little advanced and I apologize, but I want to really make sure we hit this home. An ATC radar facility issues the following advisory to manned aircraft pilot flying north in a calm wind. Unmanned aircraft operations 9 o'clock and 2 miles. Do we all agree on this? Out to the 9 o'clock. Remember, they issue traffic advisories to manned pilots in reference to a 12-hour clock. So we've got that. All right? Here's the trick. Where should the remote PIC and crew, if applicable, look for this traffic? We've been so obsessed with this airplane that we think they're telling the airplane about the drone. But the question is, where should the remote pilot in command, you flying the drone, look for this traffic? The airplane, I'm looking for an airplane out to my east. Those of you who put A in west, don't kick yourself. It is the good old FAA just trying to trick you. Right? It's all about this manned airplane, all about this manned airplane, so they assume it's the manned airplane getting alerts about the drone, but the question says no, where should the drone look for the airplane? We have to slow down, we have to really read these questions. There's only 60 questions on this test, even less on the recurrent test, by the way. 40 questions on a recurrent test, every single question is valuable. Right? We can't afford to miss any questions when there's fewer and fewer questions there because it pulls our score down. Super cool, huh? That is a tricky one. Bruce says he got him on that one. The FAA gets a lot of people on that one, and that's why I wanted to share that with you. All right, let's do another one. On traffic patterns, then again, I want to share some fun updates with you. Last question we're going to work on from the recurrent test this time. Let's look at it here together. You're conducting SUAS operations northeast of a nearby airport. While monitoring the CTAF, an aircraft announces that it is departing runway 36, utilizing a right traffic pattern. Will the aircraft potentially conflict with your operation? Yes, the aircraft may overfly northeast of the airport. No, the aircraft will be flying on the west side of the airport. No, the aircraft will be flying to the south of the airport. Think about that one. This is another one you might have to just draw a picture, and I will draw you a picture here in just a bit. But you need to, this one can be tricky. This one can be tricky. You can just type in A, B, or C in the chat on either YouTube or Facebook for me. You guys are quick typers here. Quick to read those. Nice, nice, nice. Michael, Linda, John in Arizona, Chris, Greg, Forrest, Sherwood, Stephen, Dan, Off the Dome Media Group, great answers coming in. Bill Emmons, Scott on Facebook, some good answers coming in. Alex Martin on Facebook said the FAA is tricksters. They are sure tricksters. Alex, you're right about that. Hey, Mark on YouTube, Gerald on YouTube, Bruce. Now you're getting it, Bruce. You're not confused on this one. You're doing great. Let's show why. Okay, let's draw it out here. Let's read the question. You're conducting SUAS operations northeast of a nearby airport. While monitoring the CTAF, CTAF is our common traffic advisory frequency. It's what manned aircraft use to report where they are. An aircraft announces that it is departing runway 36. and it's utilizing a right traffic pattern. Will the aircraft potentially conflict with your operation? Let's draw this first. I am a visual learner. I know 3-6 is a north-south piece of pavement. Now the question I have is, which end is 3-6? Is it at the bottom of your screen or is it the top of your screen? This always, man, when I was becoming a manned pilot back in my teens, this always confused me just for some reason. And then it finally clicked. And in remote pilot, you still have to understand it. 3-6 is the bottom portion of our screen. Why is this? Because when I am in my airplane and I am lined up on runway 3-6 to take off, my nose is pointing to the north. My heading indicator, my magnetic compass, my compass in this airplane says north. Everything says north. So in order for that to happen, I need to be at the bottom portion of your screen. Do you follow me for that runway? So because I'm taking off to the north, okay? So we've established that. 3-6 at the bottom of our screen. This airplane is utilizing a right traffic pattern. So it's going to take off, and as soon as it takes off, it's on a leg called the upwind. It's going to make right traffic, so it's going to make a right crosswind turn. Its next turn in its traffic pattern is a right downwind turn. Assuming it's staying in the traffic pattern, it is making a right base, and then it simply turns final for landing. That is a standard right traffic pattern if this aircraft's doing touch and go, staying in the pattern. Now, it says you are conducting SUAS operations to the northeast. Where's the northeast? Well, we know 3-6 is up, 360 is a north runway. I am out to the northeast just like that. A is my correct answer, yes. The aircraft may overfly northeast of the airport, and also it'll be in climb out, so it'll be lower than a typical altitude. This may conflict with my operations. These are the kind of things I want you to slow down and read. Now, I share this tiny sample of recurrent style questions. The TAF one was an initial. I want to specify an initial test question. The last two can pop up on either test. They are in both test banks. However, we're seeing a lot of those on the recurrent test. With less questions on the recurrent test, we can't afford to get many wrong. We have to slow down and read each and every question. Draw pictures out. They're going to give you a pencil, they're going to give you paper. Draw these things out. I'm a visual learner, right? And I imagine to some extent you are too. You're a Remote Pilot 101 family member. So I imagine you are too. But like I said, A is our correct answer in that. Slow down, read the questions. That's what I want you to focus on. Obviously, myself and this outstanding team here at RemotePilot101.com are here to serve you any way possible. Let's spend the next few minutes talking a little bit now about what is coming. These are the things I want you to watch for. We'll talk about remote ID. I know everybody wants to talk about it, and I will open it up for your questions in just a bit here. But let's talk a little bit about what is coming. I'm going to make a very profound public statement here, okay? And I want you to hold me to it. I want somebody to hold me accountable. Mark this day, the 26th of March. I believe a year from now, beyond visual line of sight is going to be a very, very realistic possibility for normal people, not for huge corporations. The legislation is in works for it. Now, coronavirus stuff could have slowed this down a little bit, so give me a plus or minus a quarter, like 3 months maybe. Legislation is in order for this. The technology is nearly in place, and most of it is already in place, that we could realistically see beyond visual line of sight in the next 12 to 18 months, if I can give myself a window that is truly attainable for everybody. Right now, if you've ever gotten a beyond visual line of sight waiver, you know it is very difficult to do so. I also know what beyond visual line of sight would do for so many of your businesses as well. So please just be mindful of that, be watching for that. Beyond visual line of sight, I truly believe is coming. And I wouldn't share something if I didn't have the data and the firsthand knowledge and the contacts in the industry to share such. But I believe beyond visual line of sight is coming. Now, let's talk about another topic that is even hotter. Everybody wants to talk right now about a thing called remote ID, and they're scared of remote ID. I wouldn't be scared of remote ID, and I'm not here to fearmonger anything like that. I honestly, I'm going to take some flack for this. I believe remote ID is going to be an asset in the future. I'll explain why in a bit. The buzzword you need to be watching more than remote ID is something called UTM, and that is unmanned traffic management. And that's a buzzword that hasn't earned many headlines just yet. But go Google Airbus UTM, NASA UTM, and look up these big, large entities that are working on UTM. Airbus has some phenomenal stuff they're doing with UTM. UTM is the buzzword I want you to be watching for more so than remote ID. However, we need remote ID for UTM to take place. Let's get started on what is what. First off, I believe remote ID is going to be an asset for those who use it properly. Yes, you can use it even in remote areas. Don't let the the media trick you. There's a lot of false reporting out there. Oh, if you're out in the middle of nowhere, you don't get cell service, you're just not gonna be able to fly. That is not true. There are offline ways to make remote ID still work. And I believe remote ID can be an asset for those who are willing to play by the rules, follow the airspace. It's those of you who are already getting your LANC authorizations and all these things. Don't sweat remote ID. Where I want you to be watching is UTM. I haven't decided yet if UTM is going to be a good thing or a bad thing for our industry just yet. What UTM essentially is it is scheduled in a way airspace corridors. This is how package delivery is going to work. They're basically, let's use a tunnel or even like a wormhole type analogy. They're going to give you this cylinder of airspace to UPS, and they're going to have their highways in the sky of airspace. They're literally a cylinder in shape up to a certain altitude, then across to the next hub. And there'll be these virtual airspace tunnels in a way that companies will bid on, saying, hey, I need route 1, 2, 3, 4 today. Can I have route 1, 2, 3, 4 from 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. today? Access granted. It's Jason Shepard's airspace from 1 to 2 p.m. No one else can operate in it. Okay? That can be good or bad, right? If you're the little guy trying to fight against big companies like Amazon, UPS for airspace, it could pose a challenge here. So be watching. Again, that's just how it's currently written. It could totally take a left turn and change for the better or change for the worse as well. I want you doing research on things like UTM. Don't let remote ID scare you. UTM is what I want you to watch for. And what this is ultimately going to replace is things like our facility maps. I am a huge advocate of LANC. If you saw on our YouTube, our office dad, we call him Wayne, he's our office dad. He just posted a great video using the Auditel Evo and the Kitty Hawk app to get a LANC authorization, just to show you how easy and instantaneous it is. We're inside of a little Class Delta airport right here at our world headquarters, at our studio. So he showed that whole process. But these facility maps, do you know how these facility maps were actually created? And again, this is not a knock on the system. This is a phenomenal system. How this was created, I have many friends who are air traffic controllers. They were sent a blank facility map of their airport. Picture this grid, but with blanks in every single corridor. And they were instructed from the FAA, please have your tower manager or tower supervisor fill in what altitudes they'd be willing to give remote pilots, certificated remote pilots. So here we have the tower manager or supervisor, whoever's the supervisor on duty, going 100, 200 down here. Oh, let's just do 400 over here, 0 here, 0 here, 0 here. With each one being different, there's really no standardization other than use round numbers and go up to 400 feet if able, or as low as 0 feet. There was no standardization. It was really who was ever on shift that day that got the mail, filled it out, and sent it back to the FAA. Now again, I'm not complaining because the LANC system and these facility maps have changed the game for us and have opened airspace up beyond our wildest dreams. When this first came out, we waited about 120 days for a little Class Delta authorization. Thankfully, we were smart enough to ask for it as a waiver, so it was good for, it was over a year. I can't remember quite how long it was good for, but it was good for quite some time. And I was thankful for that it wasn't like a one-off on this day. and we were able to receive that. It was great. Well, of course, that eventually expires, and now, thankfully, we have the LANT system with facility maps. So again, these are an asset. I'm not giving a knock on these. I just want to explain to you where they came from, and the system that may eventually replace them could be called UTM. That's the buzzword. I'm not trying to scare you into it. I want you to be smart and wise and watch it. Let's take a few minutes, and I'm about to wrap up. So if you have questions, now's a good time to start typing them in and asking them. I know our economy is in some rough times right now, and I know stimulus is coming and so many other things to kind of help that time, but I just want to encourage each and every one of you out there to be operating from a place of wisdom. Honestly, in every adversity, there's a seed of a greater or an equivalent advantage. It's a phrase, a quote from Napoleon Hill, and it's a quote I used before this crisis and after this crisis, and I believe it's a mindset shift, and I encourage you all to adopt it as well. And right now be asking yourself, where is the opportunity in this? Maybe the opportunity is, hey, I'm stuck at home, I'm going to use this to study for my recurrent test now. Or maybe it's, darn it, I was supposed to take my recurrent test, but the PSI testing centers, the owner-operated ones, are closed right now. I'm going to use this extra time to study for that recurrent test, or to get some of my buddies certified, or it's a law enforcement department going, I'm going to use this to incorporate our training, whatever it may be. Prep for the real world stuff. Study the things that are going to make you a better operator in this time. You know, a tough economic crisis like this is going to separate the real Part 107 operators who can withstand something like this and continue to operate and continue to make deals and make things happen. So I encourage you, operate from a place of wisdom and search out for the opportunities. Two things to share, then I'll take your questions. Again, if some of you joined us late, please do subscribe to us here on YouTube. If you're watching that, press that subscribe button. We're going to be doing live streams each and every month, and maybe even some more weekly ones, because I know you're stuck at home. Those will be on YouTube and on Facebook. So like us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube. Also, that is our Instagram tag right there, so you can literally scan that or just type in M0A. That is actually our manned aviation business as well. And speaking of the manned aviation business, if you have ever thought about becoming a manned pilot, you've heard me say it in the Remote Pilot 101 course, this is like Private Pilot Light, the test you just went through. You are a heartbeat away from passing the manned pilot test. There's not much difference. A little more on loading and CG and weight and balance, a little more on actual cross-country flight planning. I have a free book. All I ask is that you pay shipping. It's called the Private Pilot Blueprint. It's everything I wish someone would have told me before I started my flight training. privatepilotblueprint.com. I can put that URL on the screen there for you real quick. privatepilotblueprint.com, so you can check that out. I believe it's $6.95, and I will ship you this book. So while you're stuck at home, you can be reading this a little bit and studying to be a private pilot. John, if we can get that slide up for them to see that URL real quick. Super, thank you. privatepilotblueprint.com if you want to check that out. I'll leave that there for just a bit, and then I'll take some questions. Mark says, appreciate your service to the drone community. Jason, Mark, thank you, my friend. You are outstanding. Jason Shutters on YouTube, Jason, fantastic name, said, Part 107 recurrent, having trouble finding a place to take the test with the closures. What do I think? Here's what I believe. AOPA, which is the Aircraft Owners and Pilots Association, Mark Baker is a very, very good gentleman, and he is working right now with, obviously, Congress is very, very tied up with some big decisions on stimulus right now. So they may not be bothered with what we're doing with testing centers, but it's not just you. In manned aviation, we're dealing with this exact same thing. Mark Baker said, listen, we need a grace period, because a lot of the testing centers are closed right now. We need some sort of grace period. So recurrent operators, be smart, don't do anything dumb, and I believe there's going to be a 60-day grace kind of period from your expiration to then go take that recurrent. There's opportunities in all of this. Use this as an opportunity to study a little more. Forrest, thank you for the comments on the blueprint. And Jason Shutters, yeah, thank you for that question. Really appreciate you. Keith, thank you as well, my friend. Let's see. Hey, our good buddy Probe, great to see you on here. Probe says each of our students who have tested report more questions on reading charts and airport questions. If you haven't tested yet, focus on these lessons in Remote Pilot 101 and make sure you understand the subject area. Probe, thank you so much, and thank you, Probe, for what you do for the aviation industry as well. I'm sorry, I don't know if we're going to be able to meet this year at a trade show with this crazy as everything's going, but I know you've been talking to Matt and Wayne about that quite a bit. Let's see. Scott over on Facebook said, with regard to UTM, if one is issued in a specific area and there's an emergency service has a situation where they need a mission, whether it's search and rescue or fire in the same areas of UTM, will there be a way to still conduct that? So it's probably, again, I don't know the exact answer. I would imagine, Scott, it's probably very similar to what we do now. A TFR gets issued, and either it's nobody in the TFR or just certain operations within the TFR. They would shut down package deliveries, everything else quickly, and let just search and rescue or whoever that may be in to that TFR. TFR, temporary flight restriction. Again with that. Let's head over to YouTube as well. Clayton said, when's LANS going to be available for all Class D airspace? I know it's not for all, and it's mind-boggling to me. It's slow going. They keep saying it's coming, and it just doesn't seem to happen yet, and it's unfortunate because I've heard as short as like 3 to 5 days sometimes an authorization is taken at some places that don't offer it yet. It's still not fun. What if I have a realtor who says I need those photos yesterday? It is very difficult, Clay. I don't have an update on that, so I apologize here. Karen on YouTube, thank you for the kind words. Let's see. Jason said, just order the private pilot blueprint. I should sign it. Jason, I will make sure, I'm sure Sarah is watching this. Sarah does all our shipping and handling. I will sign one and leave it on Sarah's desk, just so she knows. So I can do that for you most definitely here. Let's take a few more questions and comments. And by the way, too, I want to share this, and I'll wrap on a few more questions, though. If you need anything, here's how to get in touch with us. I'll put it up on the screen here real quick for you. This is the office number. We are working remotely, but we're still answering phones. This is the email address to send emails to. Also, if you go on remotepilot101.com, in the bottom right-hand corner, did you know we have live chat support from about 9 o'clock in the morning to 10, sometimes 11 p.m. at night? These are all from FAA certificated flight instructors, a very, very smart bunch. So don't hesitate to use that. Listen, we are here to serve you. You guys have been such a blessing to us. It's time for us to be a blessing to you in these difficult economic times. So let's take one more question here, and then we'll wrap on that. Neil says he wants some Remote Pilot 101 swag. Neil, how about next live stream? I'll remember, and I'll get some swag out there to give away for sure. Let's look and find some more. Yeah, Rick says he wants a t-shirt too, so I'm sure, Sarah, you're watching this. Sarah, we need to work on that. Maybe we can do an email out about it here as well. Thank you, everybody, for those kind words. Let's find some more. Linda asked, do the UAS facility maps change? I'm very close to TPA. I like Tampa. And MacDill Air Force Base, where they meet. I can picture exactly where you are on the sectional chart. Sometimes I have to request TPA lands. Other times I notify MacDill when flying at my house. It might just be how they pick you up and how the flow of traffic is actually going that day. Linda, the question would be, see where the winds are coming from. They're coming off the bay one day and they send you to MacDill. They're coming off more inland the other day. They're sending you to Tampa. It might be how they're routing the traffic, how they're working that instead. So maybe watch and think about that. So again, Private Pilot Blueprint. And listen, if you have any interest in anything aviation, as soon as I sign off here, I'm actually heading over to our other YouTube and Facebook page, M0A. Many of you know it now anyways. And I'm doing a recreation of the JFK Jr. accident. So if aviation is of interest to you, or if you want to learn more about what happened to JFK Jr. on the final moments of that flight, I'm actually doing an entire simulation recreation of that flight. It'll be live over on m0a.com, the YouTube channel, or Facebook. You can just type in m0a.com. It'll come right up. I'm sure John can put something on the bottom of the screen. I mean, it's all over the background there too, so you can see that as well to check that out. So if you want to check that out, if you're looking for something to do, I go live right at 3 p.m. with that. So quick break and a turnaround there. But listen, I want to end on this note. I mean it when I say you all have just been such a blessing to us. It's our turn now to be a blessing to you during these challenging economic times. I encourage you to operate from a place of wisdom. Be smart in your decision making. The economy, the world economy, the United States economy, we will pull through all of this, and we will be smarter and better because of it. This is the time to get smart and wise with your business and your business decision making. This is a time to be smart with this virus as well. Drones are doing an amazing part to help combat this virus as well, and there's videos on our YouTube channel now about that. So just thank you from the bottom of my heart. Thank you so much for what you all do and continue to do for us. You're going to be very, very impressed, I hope, with the new remote pilot course and content and website that's all coming out in the coming months. It is an honor to serve each and every one of you. I'll be reading all these comments all the way through, so leave some more, send in a support ticket, call the office, whatever you need to do. We're here to help. We are here to serve you. So have a wonderful rest of your day, Remote Pilot 101 community. Hopefully I'll see you over on the M08 channel here in just a bit. Have a wonderful afternoon, everyone. We'll see you.